Welcome into Off Air with Amy. I am Amy Wood, and I'm glad you're watching the show. We have an exclusive on the hot mic today. Dr. Cedrek McFadden from the Upstate. He's our medical consultant on Channel 7. You've seen him talking about medical issues. He also was on Survivor, and we want to show you what he had to say after they voted for their winner, the $1 million winner on Survivor 48. This is the hot mic. Let's open it up and meet Dr. C.
Speaking of the survivor, our survivor, Dr. Cedrek McFadden, is joining us. And Dr. C, this has been so fun to watch, to see you both playing the game and then on the jury. How are you feeling? It's over. Does it feel weird?
It is over. Does it feel weird? No.
Okay.
It feels, it's one of those moments that you have so much appreciation for even having the opportunity to do. So I think I'm overwhelmed with just a sense of gratitude, first of all. But it also feels a little bit relieving. This process, as I may have mentioned before, this has been nearly a year and a half, 2-year process just from the beginning of casting to now. So this has been a long journey, and it's just been a great experience all around.
Who should have been a therapist and who needs a therapist?
I think, first of all, to answer the second part, I think all of us do. I think you have to have some degree of a life experience to sign up for this. But I think, there's so many people that stepped up when somebody else needed them, right? We saw that throughout the season. Certainly in my own experience, we saw that with Star, with me, but there were times in which I did the same for others on our cast as well. We certainly saw that with Joe and Eva. We all reach a point where you're at your low and you need just someone there to just give you a pick-me-up. I think all of us could potentially serve as therapists, but at the same time, need each other to get some therapy.
What are you the most proud of?
So I think I'm most proud of the fact that I did it, that I did not get swamped with the fears of the what ifs, right? You can talk yourself out of doing anything, and sometimes it's necessary, but sometimes talking yourself out of an experience like this allows you or gives you sort of that disadvantage of missing out on such a blessing and such a moment to grow as a person, and just have an experience that you would otherwise never have had.
And you said grow as a person. So let's talk about that. Like, what do you think has changed in Cedrek McFadden in relation to this experience?
Listen, when I first got back, my partners at work, they all said, "Oh, you've changed." I think there's a little degree of, I tend to work in a people-facing space every day. I give customer service to my patients, and I think this experience kind of showed me a little bit how to handle more of those tough moments that you have to have. Whether it's voting somebody out or whether it's, how you have to make a correction in, an employee or a fellow team member. Having some of those tough conversations that can make you feel uncomfortable. And this show really makes you have a lot of those uncomfortable conversations all the time.
Yeah.
The beauty in real life is that you don't have to have those tough conversations shrouded by moments of deceit. You can have them in full truth. And I think it's one of those areas in which I walk away feeling a little bit more empowered on how to handle not only myself, but those situations.
You were the first member of the jury.
Yeah.
There can be so many approaches to that, right? Some people are very bitter. Sometimes it's just a very emotional experience. Sometimes you're just pulling the whole way through for, I guess, your favorite person. How did it play out for you? I know it can be different for every member.
You're right. For me, being on the jury just was an opportunity to see the game from a different lens, but also being in the game. And for me, I was able to have conversations with new jury members, but also listening at tribal councils and having the chance in a final tribal council to ask those questions and to hear those responses. It was definitely, I think, a part of being the best of both worlds, right? Still being, having a hand to play in a very crucial moment of the game, but also having some of the luxuries of life, a bed and food and shower and just having a more of a slowed down pace.
Do you think your family has been able to wrap their minds around this whole thing being over at this point? Because they experienced it really for the first time in the show. For you, it was the second time. How did it feel for them ending this last night?
Well, I think it depends on who you ask. I mean, we're actually in LA right now, and so we were in the theater with all the cast members, with
Wow.
producers, a lot of the crew, and some fans, and they got a chance to see a little bit of the mania that is Survivor
Ooh, that's
firsthand.
awesome.
My mom took pictures with like everybody, and so I think they got a chance to just have a moment of excitement about a show that they've come to watch over this past season. Hopefully, they have a better appreciation of the show now. They understand it a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I think they've enjoyed the ride, and it may take some time to really unpack it and to process. And
That you voted for Joe. Did they agree with you?
so, so Claire was sitting next to me during the show, and she kept saying, "Yeah, you better have voted for Eva. You better vote for Eva." And I was like, "Well, we'll see." I think they certainly heard why I made it the vote for
Yeah.
Joe. I mean, there are many reasons why you vote for
Sure.
someone for something like the Survivor. And for me, I think one of the best lines she says, "You're a doctor, you're a lawyer. I'm just a fire captain."
Yeah.
That kind of moment just resonated with me. It was a humor moment. I mean, that was my game. I played with my heart. I played with some emotion, and he spoke to me, especially as a father who
Yeah.
wants to do something to represent his family and to make his children's lives a little bit better. If I could have helped with that in any way, I think, as
Yeah.
I said last night, this vote is for your family.
Yeah, I mean, our final three were all so likable. I mean, they were all,
Yeah.
I think, likable characters. Uh, when it comes to looking back on the whole season, was there any regret? Was there any move you didn't make that you're like, oh, maybe that would have changed it for me?
I'm a big believer in that things happen the way they should, and maybe
Mm,
that's a little bit of a settled process that you come to say like as a consolation of, oh, I didn't make it further, what happened it shouldn't. But in reality, I really do believe that things happen for our good in the way they should. And so if there are things that if I were able to do it over again, would I do it slightly different? Well, of course, right? Because when you know more, you do more or
sure.
you do better. And so ultimately, though, I don't walk away with any regrets. I embrace the highs, I embrace the lows. It's just all a positive experience for me.
When it comes to your big moments and low moments, what was the lowest and what was the highest?
So I think the lowest was um, it was the second wall,
Mm,
and I think that was that conversation that Star and I had,
yeah.
because what you don't see when you watch that show is this has been day 10 or 12, and we've already been fighting. I mean, I was on the tribe. We weren't that great, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
from a physical standpoint, we're back. And so I think by the point that I got to a second wall that I knew I was going to struggle with, I had not eaten. It was just, I was at the lowest,
Mm.
and I was feeling mighty low. And the conversations I was having with myself were starting to wear off. And that's when Star steps up and gives me a little bit more of what I needed. I think probably the highest I felt, I think just starting the game.
Yeah.
When we're walking, I mean, when we get on that boat and we're headed toward the beach to see Jeff, you're mixed with like excitement of like, crap, this is happening. This is
Yeah.
happening now.
It's real.
And at the
Yeah.
same time, you're in this beautiful environment. I mean, you're on this speedboat in the middle of Fiji uh,
Wow.
on a gorgeous day, and that was perhaps one of the highs because you come in with all the expectations of whatever this can be or will be. That was a great moment.
Like who had the worst camp hygiene? who who was stinky?
Well, I think all of
Or
us
was
were stinky.
everybody?
It was awful. All of us were stinky. I think when some of the habits they used to call me dad, right? I mean, not like in a way that they wanted to be our kids, but they'd be like, all right, dad, in a way that was a little bit of a, you know,
Yeah.
because they leave things around. Like I'd walk around, there'd be somebody like socks sitting right here next to the fire. Somebody, and I'd be like, whose sock? Whose shirt is this? And they'd be like, all right, dad,
Put your stuff
thanks.
away.
Put your stuff away, right? And so I think they all had some issues. I mean, I'm sure I had mine as well. But there was just it's all made the dynamic of our tribe what it was.
What didn't we see? That, because some of the conversations you and I have had as the show played out was, well, what you didn't see was this, that, and the other. So in other words, were there any things we didn't see that would have helped us to understand your game better?
So you did not see early on the relationship I had with Justin.
Okay.
That was from day one. And you
Hmm.
didn't see, we talked a lot about say and those challenges in our relationship. You didn't see the positive parts. They really showed you the bumpy parts. Every
Gotcha.
relationship has bumpy moments. And
Yeah.
they showed you all the bumpy moments without all the other moments. And you saw glimpses of it. I think when they were talking about voting me out, she says, "No, we're not voting Cedric out." And so
Yeah.
there were glimpses and pieces of it that you saw,
Yeah.
but you also didn't see the laughter. There was so much laughing.
Oh, that's
If you're
great.
if you're around Mitch at any time, I mean, you're just laughing out loud. Chrissy, Bianca, and so you see these moments where I'm voting Bianca off, but you also don't see me and her having this great conversation about her father, her grandfather, and his health history, and you just don't see those individuals. They can't show all that. I mean, I think there's
Yeah.
some like 300 hours of footage for every hour that you see on the show. So most of what happens doesn't even get shown, which is
Yeah.
fine. I mean, that creates a show.
Yeah.
But there's so much of those moments that really impacts the relationships that we had there that we still are working to have right now.
Who do you think played the smartest game?
So I think Camilla played the smartest game. I
Hmm.
think Camilla played a fantastic game, and I think Jeff asked that at the end during their little reunion recap show. Is that if she had made it to the final three, she would have won. She
Wow.
would have. And she played an incredibly smart game. Absolutely.
And she was very deceitful. She,
She definitely figured out how to outwit us, and she
yeah.
she worked the magic. She absolutely did.
What do you think really weighed on the jury the most in making him the winner?
People tend to go back to prior conversations and
Mm,
interactions with who they're choosing to vote for or not vote for. And Kyle did an amazing job of building those connections. I mean, he built bonds with so many people, and he played a very smart and strategic game. Even choosing on, helping Kevin when he broke his vase or something at the very first day, to how he worked with Joe and built that bond to keep Joe comfortable enough to bring him to the final two, knowing that in his head that I'm going to beat Joe if I bring him here.
seemed like everybody was trying to be the best they could be to other people. Is that normal, or was this an unusual season?
You get 18 to 20 people on an island in Fiji. I mean, who knows what you're going to get, right?
Yeah.
I think we did have a very supportive cast. I think it still shows today. I mean, I think the way that we interact with each other, uh, there are moments where somebody needs a one-off pep talk, even now. And I think that we have a group of professionals or walks of life that supports
Hmm.
that. I mean, Mary's a support counselor. I'm a physician. You have people that work in spaces like Mitch, who's a PE teacher at an elementary school.
Yeah.
Um, you bring all that together, you're bound to have some really cool interactions.
When it comes to goal setting, and this is what I think your book should be about, because you should write a book and it should be about how you set these amazing bars for yourself in life. You've done it, you did it in medical school, you've done it with trying to do medical commentary with us and national shows. And you said, I want to be on Survivor, and you did that. So, my question is, what's the next goal for Cedric McFadden?
I think the next goal for me is to find um, or continue to. The next goal for me is to continue to find opportunities that not only challenge me, but also bring me joy.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever that is.
Mm-hmm.
When I turned 30, I said, I want to run a marathon. I trained to run a marathon. And so, whatever that's going to be, I'm in pursuit of finding those experiences that offer, that joy, but also allow me to be challenged and stretched and just to grow as a person.
Well, we had such a good time watching you grow as a person on Survivor and play the game and struggle up those walls, and we were pulling for you all the way, Dr. C.
Well, thank you, and really, thank you, Amy. Thank you, WSPA. the entire viewing audience, the entire upstate of Greenville. You guys have been fantastic. Even walking through like the grocery store or the mall, or the park. I love it when people are like, "Hey, I watched Survivor," and it never gets old to talk about a show that's meant so much to me and that means so much to so many people. So thank you all for your support. It means the world to me.
Well, we appreciate you sharing it with us. Thank you, Dr. C. We'll see you with more medical commentary on 7 News down the
Yes.
road.
Thank you.
Our thanks to Dr. McFadden for joining us. Up next, an author who has written a spellbinder for the summer. Stay with us. There is an author who's been part of the Greenville Spartanburg community for years in politics and business, who has written a spellbinder for the summer. Take a look. This is the cover. It is called Rocket's Red Glare. I want you to meet Billy Webster.
You come, Billy, from a background of politics and business. You big time positions in the White House over the years. So what happened here? How did you transition and meander on over here into the book writing scene?
I think the kernels of the book and its plot really came from those experiences, both business and certainly politics. And I'll give you one example. I may have told you this before, Amy, but I happened to be landing in Washington on 9/11 at 9:02. That is to say, September 11, 2001. I watched the plane hit the Pentagon. I was right in front of the Pentagon when it happened. And experiences like that, coupled with my experience with the United States Secret Service and the White House, sort of began to wrap around an idea. And I've been thinking about this book for 20 years. It just took a long time to get it on a piece of paper.
And you found the perfect partner, right? So talk about your co-author on this. He's a bestseller.
He is fabulous. His name is Dick Lockey. He is an accomplished author in his own right. His most recent trilogy was written with Al Roker, which you'll appreciate.
I will.
TV personality Roker. Dick's probably written 24 books, almost all critically acclaimed. He's won about all the mystery writer prizes you can win. And the agent that I happen to have in Hollywood, who's a very old friend, she's fabulous, was the agent for Friends and has had an illustrious career. She said, I love the book. You need an editor. Let me give you one. And so Dick and I became partners, and he's fabulous. He's like a mentor, English professor, friend, and has added immensely to this book. I'm privileged to have him as a co-author.
It's a thriller, right?
It's sort of in the category of action thriller or adventure thriller. It's a series of murders that takes place through the national parks over the week of the 4th of July.
Wow.
And basic idea, Amy, was, after 9/11, which fundamentally changed our relationship with inside places, airports, federal buildings, shopping malls. Every place you go in now is different from the experience we had, you and I, before 9/11. The premise of this book is, what would it take to close off our national parks, our wide open spaces that are so much a part of the American psyche? Last year, 335 million people visited the national parks.
Wow.
What kind of event would it take for that number to be zero? And that's what the book is about.
Wow. So when you think about your experiences and the book itself, you also have a close relationship with your own dog. And I understand somehow you've weaved a little bit of your dog into this book. Explain this. This dog is a critical character, isn't it?
Well, yeah, the hero of this book is a half Basque, half Native American ex-Marine Corps sniper. He is a very solitary, intuitive, thoughtful, quiet individual. He needed a companion, and instead of finding a partner or a love interest, he has a dog. And the dog is my dog, but in a different body.
Yeah.
I've got a Pomsky, which is a half Pomeranian, half Husky. That doesn't work in the backcountry of Wyoming.
No.
So my dog became an Australian Shepherd, and
Wow.
her name is Peak, like a mountain peak, and
Nice.
she is just like the main character. She is quiet, intuitive, protective, and they are a great pair. If you love dogs, you're going to love Peak.
It sounds like a movie to me, Billy. What do you think?
Well, that would be great. I wouldn't argue with that. I mean, I will say that, Amy, you're in the entertainment world. I had no idea how long the lead time is for books.
Mm.
I mean, I really finished this book almost 3.5 years ago.
Wow.
And between the editing process.
Hey everyone, we have Billy Webster with us, who you will find on a book cover called William Webster, because he has written his first book. He's a co-author on this amazing new book, Rocket's Red Glare. And you come, Billy, from a background of politics and business, you big time positions in the White House over the years. So what happened here? How did you transition and meander on over here into the book writing scene?
I think the kernels of the book and its plot really came from those experiences, both business and certainly politics. And I'll give you one example. I may have told you this before, Amy, but I happened to be landing in Washington on 9/11 at 9:02. That is to say, September 11, 2001. I watched the plane hit the Pentagon. I was right in front of the Pentagon when it happened. And experiences like that, coupled with my experience with the United States Secret Service and the White House, sort of began to wrap around an idea. And I've been thinking about this book for 20 years. It just took a long time to get it on a piece of paper.
And you found the perfect partner, right? So talk about your co-author on this. He's a bestseller.
He is fabulous. His name is Dick Lockheed. He is an accomplished author in his own right. His most recent trilogy was written with Al Roker, which you'll appreciate.
I will.
TV personality Roker. Dick's probably written 24 books, almost all critically acclaimed. He's won about all the mystery writer prizes you can win. And the agent that I happen to have in Hollywood, who's a very old friend, she's fabulous, was the agent for Friends and has had an illustrious career. She said, I love the book. You need an editor. Let me give you one. And so Dick and I became partners, and he's fabulous. He's like a mentor, English professor, friend, and has added immensely to this book.
First of all, it's called Rocket's Red Glare. Let's talk about what it's about. It's a thriller, right?
It's sort of in the category of action thriller or adventure thriller. It's a series of murders. It takes place through the national parks over the week of the 4th of July.
Wow.
And basic idea, Amy, was, after 9/11, which fundamentally changed our relationship with inside places, airports, federal buildings, shopping malls. Every place you go in now is different from the experience we had, you and I, before 9/11. The premise of this book is, what would it take to close off our national parks, our wide open spaces that are so much a part of the American psyche? Last year, 335 million people visited the national parks.
Wow.
What kind of event would it take for that number to be zero? And that's what the book is about.
Somehow you've weaved a little bit of your dog into this book. Explain this. This dog is a critical character, isn't it?
Well, yeah, the hero of this book is a half Basque, half Native American ex-Marine Corps sniper. He is a very solitary, intuitive, thoughtful, quiet individual. He needed a companion, and instead of finding a partner or a love interest, he has a dog, and the dog is my dog, but in a different body.
Yeah.
I've got a Pomsky, which is a half Pomeranian, half Husky. That doesn't work in the backcountry of Wyoming.
No.
So my dog became an Australian Shepherd, and her name is Peak, like a mountain peak. And
Nice.
She is just like the main character. She is quiet, intuitive, protective, and they are a great pair. If you love dogs, you're going to love Peak.
I love it. All right. So when it comes to this, just listening to you tell the story, it sounds like a movie to me, Billy. What do you think?
Well, that would be great. I wouldn't argue with that. I mean, I will say that, Amy, you're in the entertainment world. I had no idea how long the lead time is for books. I mean, I really finished this book almost 3.5 years ago.
Wow.
And between the editing process and the process of getting it published, just takes a long time. So in that interim, I actually wrote the sequel. So I'm ready to go with book number 2.
Oh, wow.
Same peak. I just hope people like book
Love
1
it.
enough to want book 2.
This is a book you could just take with you on vacation and tear through. Do you think people are going to read it fast? Like they're going to want to know how it turns out, right?
Well, a thriller needs to be a fast read. Lots of
Yeah.
action. It needs to turn pages. I mean, you can read this book over a weekend. It actually takes place over the 4th of July, so we're coming right up on it.
We're just proud of you, Billy Webster. Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's it's one of these things I never thought I would do, and now that I'm here, it's pretty fun.
All right, well, we thank Billy Webster for talking with us, and that book is out. It's available now. So if you need it for your summer reading list, you're supporting a local author, and it's always good to be able to do that. Thanks for watching this week. I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you next time on Off Air with Amy.